What are your thoughts on buying points versus a larger down payment for a mortgage? Interest rates are, they've come down a little bit, but they're still, vastly higher than a few years ago.
So buying points just means that, you can get a loan with no points. And if you get which is basically just adding to your loan,
Yeah.
you can come out of your pocket or you can add it to your loan. And there's a certain dollar amount per point. And so you can buy down the interest on your loan by paying points.
Yeah.
So just for example, if I could get 5 with no points, maybe I can get 4.5 with paying some points.
Yeah, and there's always some sort of limitation because they're not
Right.
going to let you go super below the interest
No,
rates.
no, that's right. And then you would have some payback period because, hey, I paid X amount for these points, but I'm having to pay 4.5 instead of 5. I'm making these numbers up, but I'm going to get, if I look at that and calculate that out, I'm going to pay myself back for that extra points in 18 months or 5 years or whatever it is.
There's a break-even point
Right.
where, you come out ahead, but it takes some time.
Right. So the question is, should I pay the money to buy down the interest rate or not? Right? That's basically what it comes down to. So when we look at that, to me, there's a couple things. Number one, where are rates relative to historical standards? And so when rates were at 2.5%, 3% on the mortgages, that's really low.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts. I might pay points on that lower one to lower it even more because my fear of paying points is that I'm going to refinance this and not get my payback.
Yeah.
Right?
Because if you say you start at 7%, but you buy down 0.5%, 6.5, but your payback period is 3 years.
Right.
But interest rates drop to, 5% 2 years from now. You're not going to stay at that 6.5% if you can get 5% by refinancing.
Right.
So you then lost out on that kind of buying those points.
Yeah, you lost money essentially, right? I mean, you paid more than you didn't get through your break-even period because it was 36 months and 24 months later the rates. So if rates are higher, like, maybe now, I mean, there's been a pretty good stretch here. You look at the Fed Watch tool, it's expecting the Fed to lower rates next year. Whether they do or not, we'll see. You look at the Fed dot plot, what they put out every 4 times a year, where they're projecting, what rates are going to be. They're projecting lower rates next year also.
Yeah.
So if you're getting an 8% mortgage right now, I wouldn't pay points.
I'd just try and put extra money to the down payment.
That's right. If I had that extra money, I'd put it into the down payment so I don't have to pay 8% on my money. I can put it in there and basically make 8% in a way, not quite accurate, but nonetheless. So that, I think that's a big factor, is like, where are rates now? And how does that relate to, history? Do I feel I'm going to have to get a chance possibly to refinance within my payback period on those points? So I paid points, got a 2.75% mortgage at the very end of 2021. And I'm very happy with that. It was 3 and I paid it down, and, my payback period is, I don't see that being refinanced. Below 2.75%. If I had an 8% mortgage, I would not pay points. I think I could probably wait and see.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people are feeling, is that, let's not buy points, let's just wait it out, kind of refinance at a later date.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting calculation. There's an element of math there, and to figure out payback period. There's also an element of understanding what's going on in the markets, and so that's what this show's about, is to kind of like educate people on how to make some of these decisions, or even and what to ask. Ask this of your advisors and, have them figure it out. So, the premise that I would be operating under right now is that rates are probably going to go lower. If I'm locking in an 8% now, it might be temporary. I might be able to get 7 or 6 or 5 at some point in the future and ratchet that back down. And then once you get low enough, like, I'll probably never be able to refinance my mortgage at that rate, right? So yeah, that's okay. It just keeps going. It is one of the things that's holding back housing and keeping the price up. A lot of people have these low mortgage rates, and if they want to move and capture a new mortgage, all of a sudden they're going to go from that 3 to 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so people are deciding to stay, and there's still people wanting to buy, and that's why the housing market miraculously is holding up, even though rates went from 3% mortgage to 8.
Yeah.
The market is still hanging in there. It's still it's incredible. But that's part of the reason. Just people aren't willing to sell. So